I've seen the indigenous work of many Nigerians, and it's truly commendable. There's a joke that goes around in that place that the only thing that they haven't created in Aba is a human being. Everything else they can create. So today, you obviously are the mastermind behind Sapphire Sense. So can you tell us what inspired that vision of yours?
Thank you so much, and I'm so glad to be here. Sapphire Sense started 3 years ago out of the need to to make extra income and to feed my family. I was going through a very rough time. I had just been transferred from my Benin office to Abuja, and it was a very, very nasty transfer. There was no accommodation, no transportation, and I was married with a 7 months pregnant wife, and I mean, before then, all we had was bought by the office, including the mattress. It was an official house, so we didn't actually own anything. It was when we were transferred that I realized that. So all we had in Ghana was go bags. And I was at this place in my life where I started squatting my younger brother, in his house in Abuja here. And by the time it was April of the next year, I just wanted to say thank you to my wife, because the way I grew up, I did not see any of those kind of things. I didn't see my mom have to sleep on one mattress on the floor, hustle. I didn't see any of that. And my wife never looked at me one day and was like, yeah, man, is that where is this how to marry a woman? She didn't do any of that. So I just really wanted to appreciate her for her birthday. So I bought her a phone and a gold chain. By the time I bought those two, my salary had finished. I had just 30,000 left. And I began to think of what to do for extra money for the rest of the month. My baby she was eating like she was on steroids, Pampers, all of that. And along the way, all my life I'd always had a gift. The first thing I noticed in any environment is how it smells, And number two was, if I had smelled your perfume before anywhere in the world, 20 years time, I'll be able to tell you the name of the perfume. So it was just something I used to play with. So I walked past one of my friends this day, and he smelled really different. I'm like, wow, what perfume is this? And he said, oh, it's called Oud. You can get it in the Middle East, blah, blah, blah. I had a friend come in and I said, get me a bottle of that perfume. And she did, and the idea came to me, why don't you start selling this perfume? But I didn't have money to start going to Dubai. So I said, this is a Middle Eastern. I know nothing else would like it. It has to be a Muslim market. So I faced Muslim market and began to look for oud perfumes. Eventually, I found 4 bottles that I knew I could sell. And that's how I began to sell. In 3 months of doing that, I'd made ₦1 million. I would post on my Facebook, Instagram, tell them this is what the big boys are wearing. If you're not wearing this perfume, you don't even belong at all. So I was just on everybody's case. And once you buy, I'll put up your picture and say, this guy is a bad guy. He just bought a bottle of wood. In 3 months of doing that, made ₦1 million, and then I told my pastor, Pastor Biodun Fatomi of course, about it. And he said, there's something on you and this perfume. This is what I want you to do. I need you to travel, go to Dubai, begin to make manufacturers, and just expand this business. And I was looking at him like, I hope you know how much this is going to cost. So he brought out this checkbook and began to write, and he wrote me a check of ₦1 million. And he prayed for me and said, this money will not finish, you're going to explode, go and take over. So I faced Dubai, and, along the way, because of the way I started, I figured that there are lots of people going through the same thing. That were making enough money on their job that needed extra income. So I started the distributorship chain. Registered with me with, I think it was 20,000 at that time. Registered with me with 20,000, and you'll be getting the perfumes at a discount. Like, say, for instance, when you register, you begin to buy at 5,000 and sell for 10,000. So we started doing that, and it started growing. So by the time I was going to Dubai, I put up all these pictures, tell everyone we're going to look for the world's finest oud, And I kept on like that, and suddenly I woke up one morning, after all of this, having a nice time. I woke up one morning and I was selling. I used to pride myself on, because it was my gift. I'll travel, I knew perfumes I could sell. I could sample over 200 perfumes and pick 20. I know that, these 20 are bestsellers. They're going to sell out. So these guys would just wait for me to do my selection, put up these pictures on social media and go and look for the same thing and crash the price.
So that's how you started
That's how I started.
Manufacturing yours. So Raji, let me bring you in here. There's this stereotype that those people who patronize Nigeria, they're not as elite, as the people who buy abroad. So let me ask you, what perfume do you use, number one? And number two, do you patronize made in Nigerian goods?
Yeah, my favorite perfume is actually Issey Miyake, so it has a really nice scent to it. Since the first time, I actually took it from like my dad one time and just pressed it, and then I went out and everybody was looking at me differently, like, whoa, and just being approached, I was like, okay, I like this, and that was something I just stuck with. Obviously, I still like Paul Smith and all the others, but I wouldn't say, I definitely patronize made in Nigeria products. I like them a lot. I wouldn't say that some people obviously feel like everything has to be international or come from England, America. They think that that makes them more, maybe, and still buy what Nigeria makes for you. And it passes even better sometimes than, because you're just trying to, the West is, from there is the standard. Obviously, with social media, you have people like, is it Hush Puppy that wears Gucci, and then you believe you just have to wear Gucci. But generally, in this kind of situation, the way Nigeria is, I believe, you buy what your home makes, and then you wear that, and you'll still pass on with flying colors with what you have.
Well, let's look at it from a production perspective. Does Nigeria have the enabling environment and technology to actually help people producing made in Nigerian products to professionalize in such a way that they are able to compete in the global market? I'll come to you, Wale.
All right. First of all, when people say made in Nigeria, and this is my mindset, and it doesn't mean that everything 100% has to be in Nigeria. For instance, Rolls-Royce is a British car, yeah? But part of it made in Germany, you understand, and some other parts of the world. So a little here, a little there. For instance, right now, we have a factory in Maitama, you get. We have a full-blown full-blown factory in Maitama, you get, but we still have to bring in some things from outside, right? So to a degree, even when you have the whole machine, you have the whole industry, you know, say for instance, Dangote cement, you get 100% is not, there are still some things you have to source from abroad. But so, for me, it's the intellectual put together, right? And some forms of production that can now come together and say that, okay, this is made in Nigeria. Because no industry, no manufacturing process can actually sustain itself. You get, you cannot get everything 100% in one place. I mean, nobody's an island. You have to go out. But as much as possible, you know, yes, I believe, you know, because we are doing it already. We are doing already that, yes, Nigeria can actually, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, Raji, do we have a serious mindset problem? Because like Osasu said when she started, there's this perception that certain products are elitist, and if you're doing made in Nigeria, you really have not, you really are not flying at a particular level yet. So is this really a problem, and how can we really address this problem?
It's a problem amongst ourselves because we let people we let people determine how we should feel about certain products. You buy something and someone shuts it down. Oh, it's not this, it's not that. But although you like it now, the perception of what other people say, and sometimes, especially on social media, you wear something, they're like, oh, is that, where did you buy it from? Is it from abroad? You could buy Nike or a pair of sneakers from someone here, but if it doesn't come from abroad now, it's like, oh, it's probably not original, they made it here. But then at the same time, I think the problem is really that people just need to be able to be confident in what they like, what they want.
But Raji, hold on, is our celebrities fueling this mindset and this culture? Because when you go to the pages of most of our celebrities on Instagram, you see them flaunting mostly foreign products, Gucci, Fendi, this and that, Dolce and Gabbana and all that. Yeah. Are they part of this growing culture where young people now see themselves as, if they are not wearing something that is not designed abroad or produced abroad, they are not in that league yet?
Yes, because that's been the culture forever. You listen, even music, you talk about artists, rappers, all of them, they don't talk about clothes that they make. Even Jay-Z makes his own, but he won't tell you she's wearing Sean Carter. Only Diddy actually really tries to say Sean Combs or something, but in the end of the day, they'll tell you Ferragamo, and we're lost in that. We're really always trying to follow up with what other people are doing. But if we actually have time to just look at what we can create and what we make, because we make actually awesome stuff, and now the West is actually wearing our things, and now we're trying to now get back and say it's
the West
us.
really wearing our products.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
No.
Yes, they are.
Ankara is not.
Let me ask
But Harrods was selling Ankara for 8,000 pounds.
Hold on
We
that.
went to the streets and asked everyday Nigerians their opinion on this topic.
Right.
Let's take a look at that.
I prefer made in Nigerian product to US product because, one, it can increase the economical value of our country, and at the same time, it helps us, it gives us the sense of trust, in the sense that when you get a homemade product and you find any disadvantage in it, you can go to that office or the company and lay your complaint, and the going and coming of a thing will not be more expensive. Like, let me take for instance vehicle. When you get an out-made vehicles and you discover that there's a little fault on it, you have to tow it back and it's expenses. So I prefer homemade products if they have more quality.
I think I'll prefer the foreign-made products. This is because I think they are more of higher quality compared to our made in Nigerian products. Because in Nigeria, we always there's a tendency of being cheated. There's a tendency of wanting to gain just to make money, and then they end up giving you something that is of lesser quality compared to the foreign stuff. So I would always prefer the foreign products. So, all right, examples like cars, for example, mobile phones, sneakers, yeah, jean wears. I saw some jeans and they were like, yeah, it's quality, but then when you soak it in water for the first time, you wash, you just notice that the color is draining down from it, and you say that no. So I always prefer the foreign products to Nigerian made quality products.
Yes, of course. If you look at it, although we go by the trend of changes and probably what we do here on our everyday basis, people prefer to be addressed that they are putting on something from the foreign world, being it the authentic one. Because if I must remember, during our pre-colonial era, there is a book written by an author. I think the title of the book, I've forgotten the author's name, but the title of the book is How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. I think the writer said the only good thing they left with us with assorted nonsense, and probably the thing we can really reckon with up to now is their jeans materials and what have you. So going by that, people still feel when you get something from the foreign land, I think you are using the best. However, for some purpose that are best known to me, or probably if you want to know, I can also explain, I prefer made in Nigeria products.
I prefer foreign material than Nigeria stuff because outside materials is more quality than Nigeria own. Like the car they produce, machine, shoes, clothes. If you buy foreign clothes, it will last for you more than made in Nigeria. And in one way that Nigeria will be, that they will increase their products or make their qualities, they have to try and put on things in order to produce quality materials that will encourage us not to be patronizing foreign exchange again.
As at now, my country is Nigeria. I prefer made in Nigeria right now, because our country is trying and do something that I can even like it, so that there are something like we can relabel on it. Especially now, like me now, for example, I'm working in sites, so I prefer ties, Nigeria ties. You understand? Than Spain ties, because that one is cheaper. Our Nigeria country.
Welcome back to the program. Well, gentlemen, you heard it. Some people believe that made in Nigerian products are inferior to products that are imported. A gentleman said his jeans, once he washes it for the first time, it starts to fade. Is there any truth to this from your perspective? And do you believe that we could do more? We can do more in terms of quality of our products?
All right. You see, one thing I've noticed about the Nigerian market is Nigerians buy quality regardless of where it's made. That's one thing I've come to notice. And I'll give you an instance. Something happened to me early this year. I traveled and I bought, I'm a big Versace fan, I bought a Versace purse, I'd been saving for it, praying, eventually I bought it. So I was just feeling myself, just walking down one day and crack, my strap cut. What? It was a 500,000 naira Versace purse. So I was livid. But then I just, it was like a mind reset for me. So I picked up this purse and I just began to look at it. Okay, let me just actually, forget about all the hype now. Let's critically look at this product. It was just a calfskin leather with a logo on it and a strap that anybody in Kaduna or Kano could have made. But what happened? Perception. You know, you watch the movies, you know, the stars walk out in Versace. You watch you think of Biggie. Anytime you can remember that guy with his black face and the Medusa logo here. You get, so it's been sold to us in pop culture, on TV, in music, everywhere. You know, so we have come to accept it as, you know what, this is the standard. And you know, you open your TV, you're watching a movie, then suddenly they bring out this Apple phone and they're calling the Apple laptop. You know, and we just feel those things happen. You know, as if it just came there. No, they paid for it. You know, because I'm in that line now, so I really begin to understand most of these things. They were paid for. Those are actually commercials. If you watch AY's new movie, Merry Men, he mentioned Sapphire Scent there. So means I started doing all of those. Right? Any other movie, any other thing that is happening in Nigeria right now, I try to be a part of it, and it's reflecting in sales. Because the norm, you understand, the norm, so I began to understand that these things didn't just happen. You get Gucci and all of this, they didn't just become famous, right? They began to, you know, typify and let people know that, you know what, if you are going to have the best of life, these are the things you should wear. They speculate it to you.
Raji, do you agree that if the quality of the made in Nigerian products are at par with, you know, imported products, then more Nigerians will patronize these made in Nigerian goods?
Yes, they would. Even to piggyback on what the guy said, when we buy products now, if you buy a pair of jeans, shirt or something, if it's not good, first thing the person does, even if they buy it here, they go to social media and put it out.
Bam.
Now, when the pleased customer just wears it and is walking around and doing it, but the person that's not happy, they put it on, and then you have an influx of people who are displeased that jump. And then those people are now watching it and it spreads that, oh, this person, or let's just talk about a particular brand. They make a pair of jeans. One pair of jeans probably comes out well. It's trial and error at the end of the day based on our market. We're not up there yet. So you make something nice, people buy it. It doesn't come off, maybe something spoils, even wedding fits. Then the people decide, oh, the person comes out and say, can you imagine this designer, this and that, without giving them the opportunity to actually probably even make a repair on the, you've messed up their brand. You've decided that person can't, but it's a learning, but we just shoot down the minute it doesn't work out for us. And I think that also kind of leaves a stigma on people's brain, like, oh, I wouldn't buy this, might as well, why didn't I just buy abroad? And then that is how it flows, and then we just think that.
Okay, from a policy perspective, what do you think the Nigerian government can do to help businesses like yours? You produce perfumes in Nigeria. Because before we went on the break, we're trying to talk about, you mentioned the fact that certain Ankara designs are sold abroad from Nigerians. And I said to you that Ankara is not actually Nigerian. Ankara is Dutch. This Ankara I'm wearing, this is made in Nigeria, but this fabric, is not a Nigerian fabric. It's a Dutch fabric. So for every of these that I wear and parade myself like I'm wearing a made in Nigerian product, there's some money going back to someone in Denmark. You get what I'm saying? So from a policy perspective, how can government help our local industries produce originally made in Nigeria products from scratch to the end products?
I said something in the beginning that no production exists on itself, right? You have to take a little there, bits and pieces. For instance, what I'm wearing is actually made by a Nigerian. It's a jacket. It has my face at the back. See, it has my face at the back. Made by this, you know.
But this textiles, this textile produced in Nigeria.
That's what I'm saying.
It can be produced in Nigeria. That's where I'm trying to get to.
That's what I'm saying. That no form of production, 100%. You get, even if it's just the thread, even if it's just the button, you get, some would have to come elsewhere. You get, think of any product in the world, none of them is 100%. And like I made the influence to Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce is British, proudly British. The Queen drives it. Everybody, oh, this is, they want to say something is 100% British, they talk about the Rolls-Royce. But parts of it are made in Germany, parts of it are made elsewhere. You get, so for Nigeria and, you know, 100%, I think it's something we can get because we're very, 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 very creative. And I'll give you, for instance, and the government actually has been helping. When we started, right, and I got to a stage and every morning I wake up with fear, like, what if now that just shows up right now? What, you know, that kind of thing. And you see, they need to change the things they publicize. You know, if you watch, anytime you hear NAFDAC, they went to shut down somewhere. They went to close down one place. That's what they show us. They don't show us the other side. So we chopped liver and went to meet NAFDAC and said, okay, we are doing perfume. What do we have to do? And they helped us through all the process. Not only NAFDAC, SON. So we have NAFDAC, we have SON certified, both of them. You get, and these guys, they virtually bent over backwards to make sure that we got this right. You know, so they need to be able to tell that story as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so very quickly, how do we deal with this issue of this issue that's also demarketed made in Nigerian products, even within Nigeria?
Right.
So you see a product on social media, you place an order,
Right.
and what is advertised is not really what you get.
That has happened to me.
And that's not only made in Nigeria.
That's not only made in Nigeria. That's
People need to
everywhere.
understand
There's
this.
stores
Particularly
abroad.
made in
No, no,
Nigeria.
no. In fact, it's more abroad. It happens more abroad than it does here
You see,
in Nigeria.
people need to
because
get
in
this.
Nigeria, it's like easier access.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
order.
yeah, yeah,
No,
taking it
I'm
easy on
serious.
our people.
You order. There's a store. In fact, I will mention them. ASOS. You go on ASOS is a British store.
Yeah.
You go on ASOS and you order like a really nice, sexy dinner dress, and when it comes, it looks like something that.
ASOS,
So you are not
the way
encouraging-
it's
you are
funny
not
enough,
encouraging our
material-
I understand what you're saying because
let's not use ASOS bad example to
You know,
justify
but-
Nigerian
I'll
producers.
tell you what, yeah. You see, many people feel that, and this is generally, and that's one of the reasons, well, the major reasons. See, before we got into perfumes, we made our mistakes, but we made up our mind that whatever the height was, that's where we were going. So when people started seeing our billboards all over town, they didn't know, they didn't believe, they could not think it was a Nigerian company. People felt like, oh, it's some foreign company that was doing this. Because see, many times I would walk into a perfume store and I would leave there depressed. You know why? Because they didn't have anything on me. They couldn't make better perfumes. They just had better packaging, right? So we went all the way. You get, I mean, if I mention the figures we spent on packaging and stuff, it's crazy.
Well, as you said, packaging is very important.
It's
and also,
everything.
I think you made a very salient point when you said 100% doesn't necessarily need to be
Absolutely.
produced in
Absolutely.
Nigeria.
Absolutely.
So I think that's also something that we must,
Yes.
you know, keep our eyes open for. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us in today's program. We had so much fun discussing this topic. We'll take a break right now. When we return, we'll bring you the trending issues on social media. Don't go anywhere.